Hello, welcome to Hotline Live's Deadline Day special on this Monday evening. My name is Daniel Coe. I'm delighted to be joined by the one and only Keith Jackson. Keith, in the flesh.
Astonished you found your way in here.
People are starting to think I was like AI.
Look, you've sunk my battleship.
We're also joined on this Deadline Day by Record Sports Michael Gannon. Mick.
See before Mick, because this is weird. This feels weird. This setup. I don't know if I like it.
It feels like we're in competition or something, doesn't it? The way it's set up, but I'm sure we'll get there. Mick, how's it going?
I think I prefer you virtually.
We'll get working back to that tomorrow. Don't worry.
I'm sure you will.
Mick, how are you?
I'm good. I don't like that new setup either. We do our wee game on. It's me and Gavin Berry. It's not very flattering for our little kind of our little beer bellies, unfortunately. I didn't
even think about that, Mick.
The twos are having to wear black head to toe, try and mask a few of the sins.
We're also joined by Record Sports Andy Newport. Andy, how's it going?
How are you doing, boys? You well?
Thanks for
Andy,
coming on.
boys, yeah.
Bloody, look at all this. Look at this turnout. There must be something happening.
It's an all-star event, and of course, it wouldn't be transfer deadline day without our transfer guru himself, the one and only Scott Burns. Burnsy, how's it going?
I'm good. Yourself, gentlemen?
Good, thanks.
Don't seem so excited, Bunsy.
It looks, that's quite nice, that wee cosy table for two. It just looks like us three are gooseberries at the side.
This is kind of, I said this earlier, this is kind of like if Burnsy's the transfer equivalent of Santa Claus. This is like
Bunsy
Christmas
just
Day.
takes it all in his stride, you see.
Aye, just gets on with it.
Just takes it all in his stride. Just another day for Bunsy.
That's it. Where should we start? I mean, we were saying off air there that the big news in the last couple of hours is probably around Arne Engels. Massive news.
Massive, yeah. I mean, 3 bids from Forest, from Nottingham Forest, 17 million. They went in with first, rejected, 20 million, booted out. The third one was for 20 million with
5 added
so
on.
was it 14, 17, 20? And then the 20 had, a 5 million add-on as well, which Celtic could have achieved. And all 3 of them were kicked into touch almost instantly. I think Celtic will have done that through gritted teeth because these are the sort of deals and sort of figures that they love. But they've basically Tom McKeaned themselves, so they've got themselves boxed in and they've had to kick out every bid going. I actually wonder, by the way, it'll be interesting to see what the Celtic fans out there are thinking about it, because this Celtic board is not popular, as we know. I wonder if there's Celtic fans out there that will protest against the board for not taking 25 million for Arne Engels. But Burnsy's obviously been all over it as well. What are you hearing, Scott?
Just heard, obviously in the last few minutes, that the player is now at the stage where he's quite unhappy about the situation. The fact with the numbers now being floated about or put on the table, it's like it'll be a substantial profit for Celtic for the money they've made. And as it stands, I think the player's a bit frustrated that he hasn't been given the green light to talk to Nottingham Forest at this stage.
It's a sort of a Dyson Maida situation, potentially.
Yes. Kyogo before that, you name it.
Yeah.
Seems to happen every transfer deadline day.
Well, this is the problem with breaking your model, because when the promise is, come to us, we'll give you a couple of years, showcase yourself, and then we'll let you move on when we get a sort of acceptable fee. There's no one telling us that £25 million thereabouts is not acceptable for Arne Engels. I would have thought before Nottingham Forest popped up today, Celtic might struggle to get the money back in Arne Engels. To more than double it, I think it's an extraordinary deal. And now there might be the potential, if what Burnsy's saying is correct, that this sort of leaks into the second part of the campaign if Arne Engels is forced to stay against his will.
Do you know the only thing I would say, and it would be good to get the guys' take on this? I completely agree that, and Marzuno says in the comments, it's knocking back 25% of their annual turnover at Celtic, 25 million. But what I would say is, Mick, I get that Celtic fans, and a lot of them in the comments are already saying, take it. But is there any point if they're not going to buy an adequate replacement? I mean...
Well, this is the issue for Celtic. Listen, by the way, I'm just hearing right here now that they finally confirmed Junior Adamu has now been confirmed in the door.
the striker. So that's one that's nailed down. Expect Joe Mavuka to follow very shortly. But in terms of Engels, I mean,
Mick, while we're there, we've been there. I've just had a message through. I also expect Benjamin Arthur to sign from Brentford. Just got confirmation there that deal is very much a goer. And I actually think he's very highly rated by the people at Brentford. I have heard comparisons made to a young Van Dijk. Granted, I don't know if that's Virgil or Dick they were talking about, but
his agent said that.
No, actually, people who are familiar with the setup at Brentford, they've got real high hopes for this boy, albeit I don't think he's played a minute of Premiership football, has he? Premier League football.
He's played the Carabao Cup, I think, for Brentford. He's a big lump of a lad. He's only 20. So he's one of these guys that's been setting out for a bit of experience and gives it a bit of cover at the back. You think Scales and Trusty would still be the main men. I think Martin likes those two, but you need cover. I think that might allow Stephen Welsh now to go back to Motherwell for the remainder of the season, I would imagine.
He's still waiting to hear. He's in tender hooks, even with us. He's still not been given the okay to go back yet.
The Brentford one, I think I think that is pretty much well underway. The Benjamin Arthur in case, but there's still 50 minutes left in England. If a bid or a loan bid comes into England, he can still move within England. After 7, then it become a no-brainer to go to Scotland. So I think it might be a few minutes to hold fire to that one's nailed down for Celtic. And Welsh is waiting on tenterhooks for his phone call. And I expect that to go through now, Scott. If they can get Arthur over the line, it looks a no-brainer to go tomorrow, doesn't it? He's still got a year left in his deal at Celtic as well. So I mean, I would imagine that'll be a loan just now because Motherwell are going to pay the same wages that Celtic pay for him. So that's going to be quite prohibitive. But if he goes and plays well, it might give him options in the summer, either back at Celtic or somewhere else. It would just make sense for him to play. That's all. So that would happen.
Do you know what would make sense to me, Mick? I swear to God, right? If you'd taken the money for Engels, 25 mil, go to Motherwell, say, do you know what? We'll take Elliot Watt, Elijah Just, and Masmanisi.
Yeah,
3 of them. And then, by the way, you're still massively up on the deal.
Yeah, but there's no point for a loan deal for Stephen Welsh. He says wages are prohibitive for Motherwell to go and give him a 4-year contract.
No, I'm just talking about this Celtic making their model work, getting a big offer for a player. And by the way, what's really interesting about it is Dermot Desmond seemed to veer away from the transfer strategy that Brendan Rodgers was wanting to put in place. And that was the summer when Engels arrives for £11 million and Celtic spent, 20-odd million on 3 players. Well, the Brendan Rodgers spending £11 million on Engels has now been completely vindicated.
Aye.
If Nottingham Forest are prepared to spend £25 million on him. So,
see, just going back to the centre half, Benjamin Arthur. I mean, I don't know what you think, Mick. What is the point in signing a youth team player from Brentford and letting Stephen Welsh go? Why not keep Stephen Welsh or develop one of your own young players? I mean, I don't really get in. Simpson Pusey left. Yeah. He's apparently doing all right in Bundesliga. It all seems just a bit strange.
Well, that one's one of the biggest mysteries, isn't it? The Simpson Pusey one rolled down as a bizarre kind of turn of events. I just think Stephen Welsh is 25, 26 now. He's been at the club for 10 years. He's no longer a youngster. So he's not going to. You're talking about develop him. I don't think you're going to develop 26-year-old. So, and he's came close to going. He's a couple of loan spells. I think maybe, it's just maybe not going to be a long-term player at Celtic anymore. So getting out and getting games, put himself in the shop window for the summer. I say he's got another year to go, so he doesn't have to do anything. He can sit tight for another year if he wants to go on loan again. But he's got to get playing again, hasn't he? I mean, it's just cover. I mean, it's not. I know fans want a £6 million centre half walking through the door tonight, but they have got a £6 million centre half in Austin Trusty is back from suspension, and Liam Scales, for all he gets a bit of stick from some fans, he's having a pretty solid season. Apart from that kind of 4-week mad window under Wilfred Nonsi when he was playing left wing.
But I can almost feel Burnsy agitating because his mobile phone's probably going crazy just now. Burnsy, what else you got? Now, when we were talking just before we came on, you think that Celtic was showing interest in a midfielder, which might have allowed the Engels deal to happen?
Well, certainly I was told that there was an interest in the Bromby midfielder, Benjamin Taharovic, So I don't know if maybe they had one eye on a possible Engels transfer, but that was one name that was mentioned to me. I know it was put into Celtic, and there was some traction on it today. But I don't know if it's, well, I was just told that there was interest from Celtic. I don't know how far it's gone, if it will advance any further, but that was one that was certainly mentioned today.
I wonder if that's one to keep an eye on then over the course of the next few hours, because if Nottingham Forest try again and they go any higher than they have, you wonder how long Celtic can resist that. And if they are making moves to source potential midfielders, it could be interesting.
I mean, Rebel says in the comments, still an hour for Forest to reach, or a couple of hours for Forest to reach 30 million. If they reach that point, that's just really silly, if it's not silly already.
Yeah.
We've got plenty of comments coming in, and if you want to get involved in the conversation, please do so. Plenty of comments about Engels, but plenty of comments about other clubs as well. Andy, maybe you can bring us up to date on some Rangers news. What's been happening at Ibrox?
It's been a bit of a confusing one. Ryan Naderi, it seems as well accounts, if I've been told, has flown to Manchester early on this morning for a medical. It looked at that point like a deal was progressing. Obviously, after the news last night that Cameron Archer's moved from Southampton was sort of falling through because of Southampton's need to keep cover, having agreed to sell Adam Armstrong to Wolves for something like £7 million. Now, Naderi's obviously come across, having his medical. There's obviously an agreement in place for him to come in the summer, a verbal agreement. Rangers will, well, accounts looking to expedite that today, but it seems at the moment that Hansa Rostock, Naderi's German club, are sticking to their guns. They're not quite yet ready to let him leave. They've got a big promotion push there, sitting 6th in the German 3rd division. They believe that they can get promoted and believe that he's the man to do it. So as things stand, I think there's talks are ongoing, but as things stand, they've not quite reached an agreement to get him here. So where that leaves Rangers in their hunt for a striker, not quite sure. See that,
Andy, this feels a bit serious, this situation for Rangers, because
I think
they said they acknowledged all along.
Yeah, yesterday they demonstrated that they really are short on firepower and creative spark in the final third. Just to go back on, but Southampton are signing a Canadian international, Kyle Larin, but I'm told that he is just going in as a replacement for Adam Armstrong and won't be the replacement for Cameron Archer. So, as I say, yeah, where it leaves Rangers right now is to be seen.
I mean, one of the comments that's come in, Andy, from Jason Clark, simply says he's really surprised that Rangers haven't done more business today. He says, I'm surprised Rangers haven't done much business. After yesterday's performance, they needed a creative midfielder and striker. Did you think they'd be more active today?
If you'd asked me last week, I would have said that I still thought they would get a couple in. So Scott McDermott and myself were in Porto last week, and as we're flying home, there were some calls coming in and seemed to suggest that club are happy with their business. You know, they brought 3 players in already. There might only be one more in, and it was a kind of 50-50 thing. I think at that point they were still confident that the Archer deal would go through. I think it just shows you kind of where Rangers are in the sort of food chain, the pecking order. You know, there's deals above. And the knock-on effects have mean that Rangers might have to miss out. I mean, the club owners will say that, listen, they've shelled out an awful lot of money, £38 million in the summer. Another, you know, depending if Scott Wilson signs permanently, you're talking another 10 million plus in January. So the fact that, you know, they haven't got another couple in, I think they'll feel like they've done the most they can. But it's one of these ones, I think, again, the result like yesterday, some of the performances, like Scott Wilson hasn't really caught fire yet. I think a lot of the punters are now thinking, no, they need something more. They've got themselves, I mean, you think about where they were when Danny Roll came in, 13 points behind Hearts. They were nowhere. They were dead and buried as far as the title races is concerned. So the fact that they've got themselves back into this position, I think a lot of fans are thinking that if they could have just got another couple in and make the most of the opportunity that now is presented to them, that then they've given it as good. They can say they've given it as good as they got, but you know, with the way it's going now, with it doesn't look like they might get in the end tonight, then I think there'll be a few questions asked about whether or not they were they gave this as good a go as they could have.
Bunsey, what are you hearing on potential Rangers incomings, if anything?
I know that Cameron and Archer's camp haven't closed the door on Rangers yet. So obviously it's difficult, but I think the player's still keen to make the move. I think, as Andy said, they're signing a Canadian international. They were trying to get another player on loan, but that's now vetoed. Southampton, I've said, I think they're still trying to get one more in. If they can get one more in, and it would be a late one, then that would leave the door open for Archer. But Archer's camp are certainly not closing the door as it stands.
And just in terms of the whole Naderi thing, Andy, Scott, I suspected yesterday that wasn't dead. I thought something would happen today. I thought that it would move a little bit. Is it total impasse, or are the Germans just holding out here to see what more they can squeeze out of Rangers over the next few hours?
As far as I know, the talks are ongoing. I was told as about an hour ago, talks were ongoing. So, as far as I'm aware, I don't know what Scott's hearing. I don't think it's dead, but I think they've already had to substantially increase the offer that they put in last week, which is about £2.5 million. Add-ons, I think there was another bid that was above that, but I think that they are going to have to, at this stage, you're going to have to probably go big or go home, aren't you? So I think they're going to have to probably find themselves paying a wee bit over the odds if they want to get them this month. That's right now the Germans are sitting there with a whip hand. They can claim what they want. They can ask. They can set their own price here. So it might have to go late, but it all depends on whether or not we've seen them previously. Rangers refuse to pay above what they think is fair. So Danny Rowe wasn't utterly convincing yesterday when he spoke about. He was asked if he felt the squad was strong enough to go the distance. I don't think many punters will look at that team and go, that's got the amount of firepower that's required. The last few weeks they've been relying heavily on set pieces, and as you saw yesterday, when the set piece delivery dries up, they look a fairly ordinary side. So yeah, I think if they're serious about the title, I think they'll go and pay the money. But time will tell.
I know we need to let you go. Sorry, go on, Burnsy.
The fact the players float to Manchester though shows that obviously he wants to move. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that puts a fair amount of pressure on Hansa Rostock to try and get a deal done. I mean, he's put his cards on the table, isn't he? It's like
he's not flown into Manchester this afternoon to have a medical about a move in May or June or something. He seems to me as if he's trying to force the issue, Burnsy. I think you're right.
What I was going to say there was, but I know we need to let you go in 2 seconds, Andy, but Derek in the comments says 2 weeks ago everyone was saying great transfer window for Rangers. Now what is everyone thinking? We just can't create a thing. Asgard is a huge problem. Have Rangers had a good transfer window if they get Naderi over the line? Do you think that's Danny Rowe will look at it and be quite happy with his business?
Listen, I think in terms of Rangers, they were always trying to unpick the damage done in the summer. And there's undoubtedly a few of the guys that were signed in the summer have belatedly come to the party, like Arne Fernandez, but obviously Joe Rothwell, we expect to be leaving the club in the next few minutes. There's other guys there that, Atelo Asgard, Gesama, who have blown hot and cold. So this window was always about trying to repair the damage that was done in the summer under Russell Martin and Kevin Thirlwell. But I think as well, performances like yesterday, like Scott Olsen, there was so much excitement, so much enthusiasm about him coming in. Rightly or wrongly, fairly or not, it's a guy that hasn't kicked a ball since the 7th of March when he had a 3-minute cameo against Werder Bremen. His last 90 minutes was against, was back in mid-September. And in between times, then he had 3 games where he was taken off at half time. That's a guy who hasn't been playing regularly or hasn't been playing well. You've got to say for a wee while now, and it's going to take him time to get back to his best if he can. So I think that maybe some of the enthusiasm that was flowing around that move has dampened his first couple of performances. Whether he can get back, Danny Rose speaking yesterday was confident that he could get back to playing his best, but he admitted it's when you sign guys in January. It's usually because they haven't been playing a lot of football, and it does take them time to come in and get themselves up to speed.
That's a fair point, aye. Andy, I know you've got other deadline day duties to be getting on with, so we'll let you get off, but thank you so much for joining us on the Hotline Live.
Cheers, lads.
Burnsy, I know you, cheers Andy, I know you are in a similar situation as well. I know your phone will be red hot, but any other updates you can let us know before you have to shoot off?
Just going back to the Celtic one, Celtic update, there was an approach to Celtic via an agent from Fiorentina for Austin Trusty, which was batted straight out saying, no, he's not for sale. We can't sell him in this
today,
window.
Burnsy?
Yesterday.
It's
Yeah, it
worth
was driven by
mentioning
agent driven. Serie A side, we're keen to get him. Obviously, Celtic are struggling with centre halves, as we know. We've obviously as bringing in the young boy from Brentford and to let Stephen Welsh go. But with Cameron Carter-Vickers out injured, I think it was just knocked on the head. He's saying they can't let him go at this stage. Obviously, when they're in a three-way fight for the title, they weren't even willing to listen to offers. They just said he's not for sale. But there was a definite interest from Fiorentina. And there's another one. I'll just give you this one just now. This is just I've got this one there. Dundee have rejected a 7-figure bid from Portsmouth for their young defender Luke Graham.
He's had a lot of interest, Burnsy, hasn't he?
Yeah, but for Dundee to be knocking back 7 figures is massive for a young defender. So it shows obviously how highly they rate him, but it obviously shows as well that they're not willing to sell unless they get top dollar as well, which is good for our clubs to see that they're fighting for the most money they can get. But for Dundee to knock back £1 million for a player, it's not bad going.
Good on them.
Before we let Burnsy go, is it worth mentioning James Wilson or David Watson, anyone like that?
What you got, Burnsy? Empty your tank for us.
Empty your transfer tank.
I've been running on empty for about 26 years.
Aberdeen have been active, haven't they?
Aberdeen have been.
You mentioned earlier.
You speak about David Watson when obviously Scott McDermott had the story earlier on today, exclusively on Record Sport, that Bolton had a bid turned down £500,000 for David Watson in this window. Kamara clearly in a bit of trouble despite their weekend win over Aberdeen. Neil McCann and Billy Dodds are trying to get up the table. But on David Watson, I can tell you that Aberdeen obviously tried to get him in the last window, and their interest is still very much alive. I don't expect a bid before the deadline, but I do expect them to make a pre-contract offer to Watson to see if they can get him to Pittodrie. Whether they can do it or not, I don't know, but they will certainly try.
Is out of contract at the end of this season?
Yep, training compensation. I think Kamara have offered him a new contract as well. So there's a wee bit of interest.
Anything else? Obviously, Aberdeen have made an interesting signing today.
Yep, signed the Hoffenheim midfielder Dennis Geiger on a deal until the end of the season with an option of a long-term contract. I think option as a long-term contract is basically the player has had a few injuries in recent seasons, and he's a player that the sporting director Lutz Paffenstiel knows well from his own time at Hoffenheim. So it's just a case of him proving his fitness between now and the summer, and if he does that, then I think there's no doubt he's got the quality to get himself a long-term contract at Aberdeen. But be interested to see what happens at Pittodrie in the next few hours, because they're running out of defenders. I think they've got one fit central defender for the game against Celtic, or one recognised central defender available for the Celtic game tomorrow night. So I think they need to try and get somebody in before the deadline tonight.
Busy one ahead then.
Very busy few hours ahead, it sounds like.
Burnsy, go and get some dinner, aren't
Burnsy, thank you so much for joining us on Hotline Live. It's always good having the resident transfer guru on, and I hope it's not too stressful for you the rest of the night. For Burnsy, that's it.
Right, gents, all the best.
Cheers,
good night.
Burnsy.
Cheers, mate.
Take care.
Mick, we've got some, and it's worth saying.
All right, so Burnsy gets to go and get his dinner, and I get held captain.
No, this is like in transfer deadline day. We keep the solid players. We keep the players we need to keep, Mick. The players that make us tick.
Rotation, Mick.
Exactly. There's a couple of people in the comments now, and it is just comments. Chris Fraser, one of them, saying Forest have now upped it to 30 million, according to Sky.
Oh, wow.
Don't know how accurate that is, but if they have, Mick, Celtic they're in the water. They can't turn that down, can they?
If it gets to 30 million quid, then I mean,
Wow.
frankly, they have to take that kind of money because, I mean, you're looking at the way goodbye to 10 million plus in the summer from Dyson Maeda, 3 million for Yang. I mean, you're talking about the guts of 50, 60 million quid, 40 million quid. Chuck in the Champions League money you lost out on. You're throwing money away by not cashing it. You need to have. Listen, Celtic have got performance anxiety in the transfer market. They have had for 18 months.
It's not where you want to be, Mick.
No, they have to be trusting that they can go and get replacements quickly, but they don't have the infrastructure or the setup now to go and do that. Which means that they're paralysed and they can't. Listen, this is a player I spoke about before. I think he's a good player. I think he will do a job at a high level. But I think that the hustle and bustle of Scottish football isn't that great for him. And he can tend to get kind of lost in some of these kind of battles in Scotland. So I think 30 million quid and wish him all the best. I mean, that would be the perfect scenario for the player and for the club if they can get cover in. Listen, you could also say Paulo Bernardo's got to step up. Rio Tati's got to find his form again. There's two guys there who haven't been from this season who should be able to play the role and allow them to sell. You look at McCowan, who never lets anyone down. So, I mean, Celtic should be in a position to go and get somebody in, even late in the window, even after the English window closes, and go get a loan deal to cover that position. But
I think somebody's pulling their chain about that 30 million bid, by the way.
I was just saying, lots of people are commenting now saying, I'm watching Sky and I can't see it. So, Chris, if you remind us that's poor form.
I'm saying if it does go up again from 25 to 30, then they've got a real problem. But I get back to what I'm saying, performance anxiety. Celtic don't trust themselves to go and say, right, we'll take that money and go invest it in X, Y, and Z, because X, Y, and Z don't exist. They haven't got the structure in place right now to go and do that. They haven't got the lined up replacements to go in. So they're kind of stuck. I mean, even 2025 was a good offer that should have been taken. And like you say, as I'm saying, they've now seen money flying out the window. A club that's been so prudent and so fastidious at balancing the books is now wave goodbye to millions for Maeda, millions for Yang, and now mega millions for Arne Engels, unless it goes through the next hour or so.
You'd think another club would have 2 or 3 names. Look, if Engels is to go, here's the replacement.
Should have, if you're doing your job properly.
I mean,
but Celtic's system is broken just now, isn't it? Everything behind the scenes. I mean, you basically get Martin O'Neill running around at the age of 73 doing about 5 different jobs. Whether it's scouting, whether it's managing, coaching, PRing, and he's obviously having to spend a lot of time studying tapes of players, and it's just far from ideal. By the way, none of this is at Brendan Rodgers, at Martin O'Neill's door. This is symptomatic of a club which is malfunctioning. Mm-hmm. And yes, if they were going about their business properly, if a bid like that comes in, even though it is late in the day, on deadline day, you would think that Celtic should be in a position to say, as I said, I would go straight to Motherwell. I'll take Elijah Just, thank you very much.
Even people in the comments saying Mulligan at Hibs, really good player as well.
So I just think, I wonder if this backfires on the board, because they're in that mode now that everything they do they're criticised for. This one could backfire on them by not taking the money, and they probably sit there thinking, we can't sell them because we'll be absolutely slaughtered.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be. No, I don't think any Celtic fan is thinking rationally about this. So long as Celtic have a replacement of a decent quality to come in, I don't think there's any Celtic fan that'd be sitting there tonight saying, do you know what, I don't think we should take 25 million for Engels. Might be wrong.
What surprises me is that Celtic always seem surprised by these things. I mean, listen, Engels, there was talk about Engels and teams in Germany looking at him before Christmas. So it should not be a surprise that someone's made a move for him in January. It shouldn't come as a shock. Likewise, Kyogo 18 months ago had said, I'm thinking about making a move here. Almost like surprised that a bid came in January. Likewise, Adamida. Likewise, Dyson. I mean, they seem to be shocked that Celtic are a selling club. They should be ready to sell any minute, any day. When the windows are open, they should be nimble enough and agile enough in the market to go and say, right, okay, we'll cash in these guys. Take the money and go and get a replacement. But it's all broken down. The wheels have stopped turning in Celtic's recruitment. And listen, there'll be an announcement in February or March about some sort of internal investigation into what's happened here. No doubt they'll be pinning the tail on the donkey, and Paul Tisdale will be getting the finger wagged at him for leaving an absolute mess behind. when he left. And they'll promise to be better in the future. But it's been a poor window again. Listen, Celtic may get away with this window, come out with a couple of good signings. And the ones they've brought in so far, I think Chankara and Rojo have been very good. If Adamu and Mavuka are up to that standard, then I think they'll have done quite well. Obviously, the boy Benjamin Arthur will be a backup. It's not that bad the way it's turned out, but how they've got to this point has been a bit chaotic. And failing to cash in on Engels because of the failure of being prepared to deal with that situation is probably it's a mess, really.
And let's not forget, Mick, we're into February. The league season has been going on during this period of time. Celtic needed these players' reinforcements weeks ago.
Yeah.
So no matter what happens over the course of the next few years, and I think that'll be it for Celtic's point of view, don't you, Mick? Adamu was confirmed just before.
Adamu's confirmed. It's a loan deal with an option to buy in the summer if he does all right. It's a chance for him to restart his career. A guy who's a lot of promise at RB Leipzig. Salzburg. Not cut it at Freiburg. Big chance for him. So it's a loan with an option to buy, which is sensible. I think Vuka, I think will get announced pretty shortly. I think Celtic will hang fire and try and pick something up late after the English window closes.
Right.
I still think they might try and do that. I'm saying that because I think they're still Martin Neal wants as many as he possibly can get, and having let down a wee bit on certain moves. When I think Redzik was one that they were quite keen on. Obviously, I think he was always going to be going to Salzburg. The boy Gajems.
Frosinone, that's what I was going to ask about, Mick.
It turns out, I mean, I speak to people today, and it turns out that Celtic matched the asking price for him. I know people thought that Celtic backed off because of the fee, but apparently Celtic matched the £6 million asking price, and I think that the kid was keen, but he had a bit of a U-turn and changed his mind. He wants to stay for the rest of the season. He's actually got another 18. His contract's not up in the summer, but they've got an option. His club's got an option on him, so he's actually effectively 18 months left in his deal. I think he's going to stay and see what the options are in the summer. There's a lot of talk about teams in the Serie A chasing him as well. So that one was one that got away. I think that was the one Neil really wanted. But and listen, you've got to say that that's not really Celtic's fault, that one. I know they can get blamed for a lot of things, but that's a player changing his mind. Actually, you could argue they should be booing him for months if they wanted them rather than days. But that's how it goes. I think they'll hang about and see what they can get from England after the window closed down there. I think back to previous years. I mean, Callum Carter-Vickers was one that popped up at 5 to midnight or something like that in transfer deadline day, and they got him in alone with a view to buy. Look how he turned out. Something like that. I think there will be players available in that kind of wee period that might be appetising for Celtic. I wouldn't be surprised if they went and picked up another one or two and after that period.
A busy evening then.
It just depends on who's available.
And by the way, so we'd think Welsh potentially moves back to Motherwell. And I saw something linking Johnny Kenny with a potential move to Bolton. Yeah,
well, Bolton have been after him last kind of summer. And obviously with the kind of Celtics blundering last summer, they had to kind of remain, didn't they? And
just as well he did.
Well, it was kind of catapulting into a first team role. It was probably too soon for him.
Yeah,
and he's done a decent job at times, but struggled at other times. And I think he lost a bit of confidence, missed a few chances, and I think he kind of fell by the wayside a wee bit. So maybe getting out on loan wouldn't be a bad idea for him. He's still got another couple of years left in his contract at Celtic. He got a new contract last summer, but the new contract was signed with a view to going out. So yeah, it would make sense. I think now if Celtic have got, obviously got the two new strikers, plus they've got Iniacho coming back from injury, and Diaz and Maida still there. You're looking back, he's back to kind of being fifth choice again, which is kind of where he started. Maybe 18 months ago. So yeah, that would make sense. I could see that happening. I think he'll be actively trying to push for that one as well. Give him a wee fresh bit of scenery to get his confidence back. Yeah, it makes sense. But
Mick, if it finishes the transfer window Celtic with Mvuku, Adama and Arthur, do you think Martin O'Neill will be happy with that? Do you think he'll be content?
No manager's ever content. They'll see that. They always want more. And it's not the targets they went for, the top targets. they're late in arriving. These guys, a lot of these guys haven't played an awful lot of football, so they're not going to be hitting the ground 100%, hitting the ground running. But that's what you get with loan signings in January. You're never going to get a guy who's been playing week in, week out, really, unless you're going to go and spend mega money like a Forest going for Engels. So yeah, I think he would have been. I think he would have wanted. He joked at the start of the window wanting 6, so that would be kind of 5. So he's not far off it. I think it was Celtic. It puts Celtic in a much stronger shape than they've been. We just don't know what to expect from him. Adamu and Mavuka. These are guys that, and they're younger in their career, had a lot of potential, and have gone a bit off the rails, really. So if they come in and see it as a chance to kind of give them revitalise their careers, they might get kind of hungry players that can make an impact. But we just don't know because listen, Barrett Wishaw was one that I'm not saying that he was similar kind of out of favour, but it came a lot of kind of positive noises, and he's completely tanked. So
they watched him for a while as well, didn't they?
Well, I mean, we're writing about him a year earlier, and he got injured. It was meant to be on the way the year before, and got injured, and then he came back in again a year later, and he's just not done it. So that was £5 million down the drain as well, by the looks of it. So they need to be. I mean, people might say, "Well, it's new faces," so that excites people, and they think, "Well, that's good." But we just need to see what they look like. I mean, they might. Yeah. They need to recapture the form they showed Mavuka at Bodo Glimt and also Adama at Salzburg when they were up and coming guys with lots of potential. So not shown it for a while, these guys.
We've got a couple of little bits we need to finish on before we wrap up. And for everyone slagging my cardigan in the comments,
the Celtic away cardigan.
How dare you? This is class. And
if anyone needs boycott.
Someone said a minute ago Ian Botham's coming in with a late bid for my cardigan.
How's that?
Rejected. James Wilson, need to finish on that.
Yeah, that's been a really interesting one today, and it's still not announced officially. But obviously, the kind of day started with the suggestion that Arsenal had come in for the 18-year-old at Hearts. Hasn't been getting game time. Obviously, Derek McInnes has been going with more experienced players in the final third, and you know they've been reaping the rewards. But the kind of consequence for James Wilson is that he's down the pecking order. Arsenal came in over the weekend, as we covered earlier today, with an offer to take him on loan and put him into the development squad and play him in the under-21s. But there seemed to be no financial upside for Hearts on this.
What would be in it for Hearts?
So Hearts said, well, look, we're open to discussions, but make us an offer. Are you going to build a set fee into this? Is there a loan fee? And then the whole thing went quiet for about 24 hours. It was still quiet this morning. Spurs, I don't know where they've got wind from, but they've obviously heard something, something might be doable, and they've decided to go and do it instead. By mid-afternoon today, they had agreed on the framework of a deal with Hearts, which involves an upfront loan payment just now, and what an agreed price for what they would pay if they want to make the deal permanent for James Wilson in the summer. Hearts are happy with it. I think the boys quite happy with it, and it looks very much as if Spurs have beaten their rivals to the punch on this one. It's an odd one. I guess it'll be the same thing. If he does complete this move, he'll go there. He'll be part of development squad, hoping to make his way at some sort of pathway into the first team. But yeah, I mean, it's a surprising one because he's not at this minute in time good enough for the Hearts first team.
Aye, he is a Scot. He's got a full.
He's got one cap. Yeah.
It's just a bit depressing. He might be going down to play Premier League 2 football.
I wonder about it. Obviously, when English clubs come calling and offer young Scottish players a chance, the kind of financial upside is mega.
Too much to turn down.
It can be, but you hope they don't lose their way. Obviously, Billy Gilmour went down very early in his career at Chelsea. He actually, in fairness to him, then seemed to have cracked the code. He was in Chelsea's first team playing under Frank Lampard, but then kind of lost his direction a little bit and his career stalled. I'm a great believer in the young players, our best young players should be playing man's football, because I think that's where you learn all your lessons. That's where you learn your ring craft. I'm not sure that 6 months of academy football, as good and as talented as all the boys are at academy level down south, it's not. It's the same as it's not a real apprenticeship. You're just not learning the real tricks of the trade that you do when you're thrown into the men's game. And look, the deal's not been sealed. I think it will happen, but I don't think it'd be the worst thing for James Wilson to stay at Hearts and just try and claw his way into Derek McInnes's thoughts and get more first team football at Hearts at a time when Hearts are on the crest of a wave and trying to win a title. He could have yet a massive contribution to make. And by the way, Lawrence Shanklin's still out injured.
Of course, The very last thing we need to touch on, friend of the show, Kyle Gunn, has written in. He says, can I jump in with a story? St Mirren, hopeful of signing a creative midfielder before the deadline, in addition to Jacob Devaney from Manchester United on loan. And he also says that Evan Mooney is going to Arsenal.
I think he's already travelled down to get that deal done today, Evan Mooney.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's an amazing move for these guys.
It's brilliant.
But, like you say, you want to play football, don't you?
Yeah, you wonder, you just hope it doesn't kind of press pause on their own development.
Exactly. That's it.
But, good luck to them, because obviously, as I said, the financial sort of pluses on this will be significant.
A few people writing in saying Rangers have agreed the Ryan Naderi deal. It's apparently been made official. So there you go.
Well, I did think I've felt for a few days now that Hansa Rostock have been sitting there almost goading Rangers a little bit. I think that they've played it quite brilliantly. They've certainly turbocharged the fee up from, I think, the original offer that they appeared to be ready to accept was about 2.6 million. I think Rangers might be paying closer to 4 now. So they've done their job well. The players obviously pushed a little bit. I thought that would happen, and I wonder if there is still the opportunity to get another striker, make it 2, because I think Rangers need them.
Right.
And I think if they're really serious about winning the title, they need to beef up their options in the final third, because quite plainly, just not good enough right now.
Well, I think it's going to be a very busy last few hours, and if you want to stay on top of all the deals, Record Sport is the place to do it. But I think for now that brings us to the end of tonight's Hotline Live. Mick, it is always a pleasure. I feel like Mick's the new star of the Hotline now. I'm getting a bit jealous, to be honest, of his following.
I reluctantly agree with you.
Because of my good looks.
Aye, that's it, exactly.
Is it too early to say, don't go to bed, folks? What time is it? 20 to 7. Don't go to bed just yet, folks.
7:15, hang on.
Long night ahead, Mike.
That's it. Thank you very much for watching at home. Thank you for all the comments. Massively appreciate it. And the window shuts at 11, so stay tuned to Record Sport for all the latest news. Thanks for watching.